Have you ever wondered what lurks in the deepest, darkest corners of our planet? And did you know that the Mariana Trench is deeper than Mount Everest is tall? It's a world of intense pressure, frigid temperatures, and complete darkness. Join us as we dive into the secrets of the deepest ocean trenches and uncover the strange and fascinating creatures that call them home. The Hadal Zone, life in the pressure of darkness. Welcome to the first chapter of our immersive journey into the unsolved mysteries of the deepest ocean trenches. Brought to you by timeless Enigma, beyond the reach of sunlight, down into the Hadal Zone. A realm so deep and so extreme that it remains one of the last true frontiers of mystery on our planet. Named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, the Hadal Zone begins roughly 6,000 meters, or about 20,000 feet, below the ocean's surface and stretches to the deepest oceanic trenches known to science, including the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, which plunges more than 36,000 feet into the darkness. This is a world where water pressure is over 1,000 times that of the surface, temperatures hover just above freezing, and no sunlight ever penetrates. And yet, life exists here. Life that, according to everything we once believed, shouldn't be able to exist at all. As you relax and allow the calm of the deep to surround you, picture the journey downward. The light fades slowly until it disappears completely. The last known fish give way to eerie silence. The water turns colder. We descend through the abyssal zone and pass into the Hadal depths. Here, in the blackness, something stirs. Something lives. How can life survive or even thrive in such conditions? What forms does it take? What secrets do these creatures guard? Locked away in a pressure-crushed world that has barely been touched by human hands, we'll explore what science has discovered, what remains unexplained, and what strange reports suggest we still don't understand. The realm few have touched. Only a handful of human-made submersibles have reached the Hadal Zone. Among them are the legendary Trieste, which made the first manned descent to the Challenger Deep in 1960, and more recently, explorer Victor Vescovo's deep-diving DSV limiting factor. Each descent is a journey not just into depth, but into mystery, into the unknown. What they've seen is both awe-inspiring and unnerving. At such depth, the seafloor appears alien, marked by vast plains of mud, strange ridges, and sudden chasms. It is silent but not empty. Small, translucent amphipods, shrimp-like creatures, swim in the darkness. Slender, ghostly sea cucumbers drift across the bottom. Occasionally, cameras have caught glimpses of larger, faster shapes, darting away before they can be identified. What were they? The few biological samples retrieved from the Hadal depths often defy expectations. Some possess enzymes capable of withstanding extreme pressure. Others have soft, gelatinous bodies with no need for bones, a different solution to survival than anything seen on land. There is even debate over whether some of these organisms are unique to the Hadal trenches or if they migrate in and out of them like nomads of the deep. Biological impossibilities? In 2017, a remotely operated vehicle exploring the Chromatic Trench recorded footage of what appeared to be a translucent, eel-like creature. A new species that had never been documented before. Its body shimmered in the light of the ROV, and it moved with uncanny grace, seemingly unbothered by the crushing pressure. These moments highlight one of the strangest truths about the Hadal Zone. The more we look, the more we realize we don't understand. How do these creatures reproduce? How do they find food in such a nutrient-starved environment? Some scientists theorize that Hadal creatures survive on marine snow, a constant slow drift of organic particles falling from upper layers of the ocean. Others wonder if entire food chains exist around deep-sea hydrothermal vents or methane seeps we have yet to discover. There are also more speculative theories, whispers that perhaps, in this deep and timeless world, evolution has taken paths unlike anything we've imagined. Could there be life here based on entirely different biochemistries? Could organisms here defy our definitions of living altogether? Shadows in the depths. Beyond the scientific discoveries, there are also stranger tales. Deep-sea hydrophone recordings have occasionally picked up unidentifiable sounds from the Hadal Zone, like metallic clinks, rhythmic pulses, and long, low-frequency moans. Some are believed to be geological in origin. Others remain unexplained. One of the most famous is the bloop, a powerful, ultra-low frequency sound detected in 1997. While Noah later suggested it was ice-related, the fact that the sound was so loud and organic in nature led some to speculate that it might have been produced by an enormous, unknown life form. Could something massive dwell in the Hadal trenches, hidden from us by pressure, darkness, and distance? A few submersible operators have reported strange electromagnetic interference in deep trench regions, leading to malfunctions in otherwise reliable equipment. Others have described shapes moving in the periphery of their lights, too large, too fast, too silent. The questions we can't yet answer. As we rise gently from the Hadal zone in this calm night of thought and wonder, we leave behind more questions than answers. What life exists down there that we haven't seen yet? Are there entire ecosystems we've missed because we haven't looked long enough, or in the right way? Could the Hadal trenches be home not only to strange biology but to geological and energetic anomalies that challenge our understanding of the Earth itself? And perhaps the most humbling question of all, are we truly the first to explore these depths? Or has something else, something older, been here before us watching silently in the darkness? Let the mystery stay with you as you drift further into rest. The ocean trenches will still be there waiting as we continue our journey in the next part of our descent into the unknown. Next, the missing submersibles, disappearances in the deep. Beneath the shimmering surface of Earth's oceans lies a realm that is less understood than the surface of the moon. A place of darkness, immense pressure, and mystery, the ocean trenches. And within this haunting and quiet domain, machines designed to explore its secrets have simply vanished. Submersibles, both manned and unmanned, have embarked on exploratory missions into these inhospitable depths, never to return. Some leave behind a whisper of radio contact. Others vanish with no sign at all. These disappearances have puzzled scientists, fueled conspiracy theories, and left families and researchers alike haunted by the silence of the deep. Tonight, we gently descend into this quiet abyss, allowing your imagination to drift like a slow-moving current. Let us explore the silent tragedies of submersibles that vanished into the darkness, their final destinations shrouded in the mysteries of the sea. The vanishing of the Keiko Maru 2. Our first mystery takes us to the vast Pacific, near the Japan Trench. The Keiko Maru 2 was a Japanese deep-sea probe built to follow in the footsteps of its predecessor, the original Keiko, which had reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench. But in early 2005, as the Keiko Maru 2 attempted a dive near the Japan Trench, contact was suddenly lost. The submersible had reached depths exceeding 10,000 meters when the onboard telemetry began transmitting strange fluctuations in pressure and unexpected temperature readings. Moments later, silence. Search efforts were swift but futile. No debris, no final signal, no sign of malfunction. Some hypothesized a catastrophic implosion due to pressure failure. Others whispered of a more speculative theory, that the submersible encountered a geological or biological anomaly, something not accounted for by science. To this day, the Keiko Maru 2 lies somewhere at the bottom of the trench, buried beneath silt or swallowed by a shifting seafloor. Its instruments may still hold data, quietly corroding with each passing year. The disappearance of the Nereus. The Nereus was one of the most advanced unmanned underwater vehicles of its time, capable of diving to depths of 11,000 meters. Built by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, it was a sleek, torpedo-shaped vessel designed to explore the most extreme reaches of the ocean floor. In 2014, during a dive into the Kermadec Trench in the South Pacific, it was lost. Scientists had been monitoring its progress closely when, at a depth nearing 10,000 meters, all contact abruptly ceased. A search of the area revealed nothing at first. Days later, fragments of the Nereus were recovered floating on the surface. An analysis concluded that the pressure had likely caused a sudden implosion. And yet, questions lingered. Why had the Nereus survived similar depths in previous missions? Could there have been an unforeseen variable? Some speculated that seismic activity or unknown currents played a role. Others imagined more surreal scenarios, the encounter with an unknown force or entity. The sea does not often give up its secrets. The Soviet deep-sea craft incident. In the late 1970s, at the height of Cold War secrecy, the Soviet Union reportedly lost a deep-sea manned submersible in the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Details remain classified, but rumors have persisted for decades. The craft, rumored to be named AS-13, was said to be conducting an experimental dive under extreme pressure conditions when it vanished from Soviet naval tracking systems. No official documentation was released, and families of the crew were told the mission had been relocated. But decades later, a declassified memo from U.S. Naval Intelligence referenced a missing Soviet submersible likely lost at trench floor level. Some divers and researchers claim to have picked up faint sonar echoes in the area during later expeditions, though these claims are anecdotal and unconfirmed. Did the AS-13 experience a catastrophic failure, or was its disappearance part of a larger military cover-up? The answers remain locked in the deep. Echoes of the missing, the ghost signals. There are other reports, less well-documented but no less intriguing. In some cases, oceanographic institutes have detected brief pings or distress signals from unidentified sources in trench regions. These signals often mimic the frequencies used by known submersibles, but they lack clear identification codes. Could these be echoes from lost craft, their emergency systems triggering in the blackness decades after their disappearance? Or are they entirely unrelated phenomena, deep-sea geological sounds mistaken for technological origins? As the deep ocean remains largely unmapped and its properties still not fully understood, such ghost signals continue to add layers of mystery to the story of lost submersibles. The silent depths. The ocean trenches are more than just geographic depressions. They are places of silence, of shadows, of unknowable pressures and shifting forces. The disappearance of these submersibles reminds us that we are guests in a realm that does not welcome intrusion easily. Machines built with precision and care, operated by teams of brilliant minds, have entered the deep and have not returned. Whether consumed by physics, the chaotic nature of the trenches, or something more mysterious, their stories linger. As you drift deeper into rest tonight, let your mind imagine these silent machines resting quietly in the abyss, their lights long gone, their missions unfinished. The sea holds many stories, and some of them whisper from the dark. And perhaps, just perhaps, someday we will listen closely enough to understand what truly happened in the depths. Next, the Mariana Trench anomalies, sounds, lights, and structures. Beneath the vast Pacific, deeper than Mount Everest is tall, lies a place so remote, so inaccessible, that it remains largely unknown to human eyes. The Mariana Trench, the deepest natural trench on Earth, is a gaping scar on the ocean floor, stretching for over 1,500 miles and plunging to depths beyond 36,000 feet. This otherworldly abyss has long been shrouded in mystery. But some of the anomalies recorded here challenge not only our understanding of oceanography, but our understanding of reality itself. Welcome to Timeless Enigma, where we journey into the unknown with calm curiosity. Tonight, we descend into the shadows of the Mariana Trench, where strange lights blink in the darkness, bizarre metallic sounds echo from unseen depths, and sonar scans reveal structures too symmetrical to be natural. Let us begin. Place like no other. The Mariana Trench lies east of the Philippines and south of Japan, and includes the Challenger Deep, the trench's deepest known point. Due to the incredible pressure at this depth, over 1,000 times that at sea level, very few manned missions have dared descend into its lowest points. The inaccessibility and crushing darkness make the trench an ideal setting for mystery. But it's not just the lack of light or the crushing environment that adds to the trench's enigma. In recent decades, a series of unexplained phenomena have been reported by oceanographers, naval explorers, and deep-sea submersibles. These include the strange, rhythmic metallic sounds with no known source, flickers of light in regions of absolute darkness, a geometric sonar anomalies, formations that suggest artificial structures. Let's explore each of these in turn. The bloop, the upsweep, and the Western Pacific bioduck. Sound travels exceptionally well underwater, and the deepest parts of the ocean are eerily noisy. In the 1990s, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) began deploying underwater microphones, or hydrophones, across the Pacific. What they recorded in the area surrounding the Mariana Trench was baffling. The most famous of these sounds was the bloop, an ultra-low frequency burst picked up in 1997. Originally believed to come from an animal larger than a blue whale, the bloop's origin has never been definitively identified. Another sound, called the upsweep, was detected near the trench and consists of a long series of upwardly sweeping tones. Its seasonal and mysterious recurrence has defied classification, though some believe it could be geological. Then there's the bio-duck, a repetitive quacking sound first heard in the Southern Ocean, but later detected near the trench. It was eventually linked to Antarctic minke whales, but not before years of speculation about submarines or secret machinery. These sounds, organic or otherwise, raise the unsettling question: what is really producing them in one of the most uninhabitable places on Earth? The lights in the deep. One of the most peculiar reports from remote-operated vehicles, ROVs, and deep-sea explorers involves lights. Unlike bioluminescent creatures, which are well documented, some of these lights have appeared as static glows or pulsing flashes, positioned in patterns across the ocean floor. In 2012, a Japanese research expedition reported seeing several evenly spaced blue flashes while surveying a trench wall at nearly 30,000 feet. The lights did not match the movement or brightness patterns of known bioluminescent species and were dismissed by some as electronic interference. Yet the video footage remains inconclusive. Were these lights part of unknown life forms? Or could they have come from something artificial? The symmetry with which they appeared has led some to speculate that they were not random. The unnatural structures on sonar. Perhaps the most controversial of the trench anomalies are sonar readings that suggest artificial geometry. One such scan, captured by an autonomous underwater vehicle in 2015, revealed a formation consisting of a series of parallel lines and 90-degree angles, buried halfway into the sediment. At first dismissed as an imaging error, further scans confirmed the feature's presence. Some theorize these might be ancient remnants, perhaps a sunken civilization from a time before the last ice age, swallowed by tectonic shifts. Others suggest they could be natural formations shaped by deep-sea currents and plate movement. Still, the shapes are eerily symmetrical. Alternative theories. When natural explanations fail, human curiosity drifts into speculation. Ancient technology. Some fringe researchers believe that the trench may conceal remnants of lost civilizations, possibly even predating humanity. Extraterrestrial bases. A more radical hypothesis suggests the deep ocean is ideal for concealing advanced non-human intelligence, undetectable and unreachable. Dimensional weak points. A theory born more from science fiction than science, this proposes that immense geological pressure could create temporary rifts, openings to other dimensions. Though lacking evidence, these theories persist, perhaps because the trench offers so few answers. Next, the creatures that shouldn't exist. Impossible biology in the ocean trenches. In the world above, biology seems well-ordered. Life follows rules. Evolution explains adaptations. Organisms fit predictable niches. But miles beneath the ocean's surface, where sunlight never reaches and pressure can crush steel, life laughs at our assumptions. Here, in the world of the trenches, creatures exist that defy logic. They float, pulse, shimmer, and twist in ways that challenge everything we think we know about the possibilities of life. Welcome to Part 4 of our journey into the deepest ocean mysteries. In this chapter, we gently descend into the abyss, not just to observe strange life forms, but to contemplate how their existence rewrites the very script of biology. Prepare to meet the impossible. A world without rules. Let us begin our descent, slowly, gently, as if floating in a dream. The temperature drops. Light disappears. The water presses in from all sides, until we enter a realm few eyes have witnessed. This is the Hadal zone and its neighbors, a place of endless night where pressure is more than 1,000 times that of the surface. In this dark stillness, life does not merely survive, it thrives. At these depths, traditional features like bones and lungs are liabilities. Instead, the beings here seem crafted from liquid and shadow. Imagine a creature that is nearly invisible, its jelly-like body rippling softly as it glides. The ghost shark and the headless chicken monster. One such organism is the enigmatic ghost shark. It drifts eerily, like a specter. Unlike typical sharks, it lacks the cartilage density that gives its cousins their sleek shape. Instead, it floats with a ghostly grace, almost playful, yet somehow alien. Its eyes reflect infrared light, glowing like moons in the deep. Then there's the so-called headless chicken monster, a bizarre name for a bizarre creature. Officially known as Enigma seximia, this sea cucumber propels itself through the water using fin-like appendages, glowing with bright bioluminescent hues. It appears headless, translucent, and out of place, as if it wandered in from another reality. When captured on camera, it almost seems to perform a dance. But this isn't showmanship. It's survival in motion. In a world with no solid ground and few places to hide, mobility is everything. Amorphous intelligence. Among the oddest of the deep-sea anomalies are creatures that hint at problem-solving, camouflage, and decision-making. Some researchers speculate that certain jellyfish-like entities exhibit reactions beyond mere stimulus response. For example, a translucent organism recently filmed in the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench was seen altering its glow pattern in a rhythm that resembled Morse code. Could these be signs of communication, or just the projections of hopeful human minds? In the sleep-like silence of these depths, even science feels like poetry. Another mystery involves a creature nicknamed the Wraith. Seen only once by a deep-sea probe in the Kermatic Trench, the footage shows a shadowy form that shifts its shape constantly, expanding, then condensing, almost breathing. When approached, it vanished so completely, even its heat signature disappeared. It raises a possibility we seldom entertain, that some life down here doesn't just evade detection but understands it, and chooses it. The limits of classification. When a new organism is found in the trench zones, scientists try to categorize it using known taxonomies. But often there is no match. The creatures either possess traits of multiple phyla or seem so structurally unique that they require entirely new categories. The ocean trenches may be the final place on Earth where evolution continues without our knowledge. Down here, without human interference, biology is untamed. It is as if nature experiments freely in the deep, unbound by sunlight, time, or scrutiny. Marine biologists now speculate that we may be underestimating the number of unknown species by orders of magnitude. Some believe that for every known trench-dwelling creature, there are dozens yet to be documented. This is not just a gap in discovery, it is a gulf. As we slowly ascend from these profound depths, we are left not with answers but with awe. The trench creatures, with their transparent bodies, glowing rhythms, and alien anatomy, remind us that the rules we cling to are only reflections of the world we know. Beyond that, in the silent folds of the sea, life is writing its own story, in a language we have not yet learned to read. And so, the creatures that shouldn't exist continue to drift, breathe, glow, and vanish, hidden in the pressure of darkness, waiting for our eyes to catch up with their quiet miracles. Next, the Baltic Sea object, ancient technology or natural formation. The ocean has long hidden its secrets beneath layers of saltwater and silence, but among its most captivating modern discoveries is a strange, disc-like object resting on the floor of the Baltic Sea. Since its detection in 2011 by a team of Swedish treasure hunters known as Ocean X, this bizarre structure, dubbed the Baltic Sea Anomaly, has stirred intense debate, speculation, and wonder. Some call it an alien spacecraft. Others believe it's a relic of an ancient civilization. Skeptics argue it's merely an oddly shaped rock formation carved by glacial movements over millennia. But what makes the Baltic Sea object so enduring in our collective imagination is that, even today, it resists definitive classification. So now, let us descend into the cold, murky waters of the Baltic Sea, drifting slowly through currents thick with mystery. As we hover in the dim blue light, the object takes shape. A massive, rounded form sitting 300 feet beneath the surface, roughly 200 feet in diameter, resembling something not entirely geological, nor comfortably familiar. It all began when the Ocean X team, led by Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asberg, was conducting a sonar scan of the seafloor while searching for shipwrecks. What they captured on their sonar screen was unlike anything they'd seen before. A large, symmetrical anomaly that appeared artificial. Early sonar images revealed a circular formation with right angles, stair-like features, and a runway or skid mark leading up to it, as if the object had slid into place. Initial media coverage exploded with comparisons to the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, amplifying public interest and speculation. Was this an ancient submerged UFO? A secret Nazi structure? Or something older, stranger, perhaps predating recorded history itself? Upon returning to the site with diving equipment, the Ocean X team reported more anomalies. Divers claimed their electronics stopped working when near the object. Cameras malfunctioned, satellite phones failed, and compasses spun wildly. Some divers even described a feeling of disorientation or dread while near the site. The object itself appeared to be made of a hard, stone-like material, but not uniformly so. Portions looked smooth and metallic, while other areas seemed scorched or blackened, as if exposed to intense heat. A strange black substance resembling soot-coated parts of the formation. Samples taken back to labs were inconclusive. These observations opened a floodgate of theories. An ancient alien craft. The symmetry, stair-like ridges, and unusual material led some to believe this was a long-buried extraterrestrial structure, possibly damaged in a crash and later covered by sediment and ice. Atlantis or pre-ice age structure. Others suggested the formation might be the remains of a prehistoric temple or outpost from a sunken civilization, preserved in the cold northern waters. A Nazi base or secret weapon. Given the Baltic's strategic location during World War II, a few hypothesized the object could be part of a forgotten military installation or experimental technology. A natural formation. Most geologists lean toward this explanation. The Baltic region was heavily influenced by glacial activity, and the object could be a moraine or glacial deposit shaped into unusual patterns by centuries of erosion. But even this scientific view has its complications. The Baltic Sea object doesn't entirely match known geological formations. The runway extending behind it, a 985-foot-long groove in the seafloor, suggests movement or impact, not just formation. And the electromagnetic disturbances reported remain puzzling. No official scientific expedition has been able to verify or disprove the anomaly's artificiality. Funding, weather conditions, and political obstacles have kept the mystery largely in the hands of the Ocean X team and independent researchers. The Swedish Navy, when asked about the object, offered no clear answers. Some theorists suggest this silence is strategic, that governments may know more than they are saying, but prefer to let the mystery lie dormant. In a way, the Baltic Sea anomaly has become more than an object. It's a mirror for our curiosities, a canvas for our need to believe in something beyond the visible world. Each theory, whether fantastical or skeptical, adds a brushstroke to a picture that remains blurry, submerged, and forever out of reach. We return now to the surface, where waves lap against forgotten coastlines and questions echo beneath the sea. What lies beneath the Baltic? A trick of sonar? Or a relic of a world we've yet to understand? In the stillness of unanswered questions, the object waits. Next, the Challenger deep silence. Why no one stays long? In the vast, unrelenting expanse of the Pacific Ocean lies a chasm so deep and so forbidding that even the most advanced submersibles and the bravest explorers rarely linger. It is known as the Challenger Deep, Earth's deepest known point, a place cloaked in a nearly mystical silence, resting at the southern end of the Mariana Trench. Despite its allure to scientists, adventurers, and dreamers, the Challenger Deep remains a realm touched by very few. And when it is touched, the contact is brief, mere minutes or at most a few hours. Why is this? Why do we not remain longer at the very bottom of the world? Why do so many expeditions descend with such fanfare, only to rise again so quickly? To begin answering these questions, we must explore the intersection of extreme pressure, technological limits, psychological strain, and the lingering, unsettling phenomena reported from this crushing abyss. A place few have seen. As of the mid-2020s, fewer than 30 people have descended into the Challenger deep. That's fewer than the number of individuals who have walked on the moon. The rarity is not due to a lack of curiosity or funding, though those are factors, but largely because the environment at that depth is almost inconceivably hostile. At nearly 36,000 feet below sea level, the pressure is over 1,000 times that of the surface. Every square inch of a submersible is assaulted by tons of force. Designing a vessel to withstand that pressure requires exquisite precision. And even with that, the margin for error is nearly zero. Any flaw in the material, any overlooked variable, could mean instant, silent implosion. But for those who have gone, what they've experienced beneath the crushing black waters is not always what you'd expect. The reluctance to stay. Most dives to the Challenger deep are remarkably brief. The record for time spent on the bottom is just a few hours. Why? One might imagine a scientific goldmine at the deepest point on Earth would inspire longer expeditions. Yet even when equipment works flawlessly and the mission is well funded, the teams return quickly. Some cite technical limitations. Energy reserves are finite, communication at such depths is poor, and maneuverability is extremely difficult. But some whispers suggest deeper reasons, ones not openly discussed in scientific journals. A deep and unnerving stillness. Many who have reached the bottom describe not awe, but unease. The silence at those depths isn't merely the absence of noise. It's described as something deeper, an oppressive quiet that seems to press inward, as if the trench itself is observing. Communication back to the surface becomes strange and lagged. Shadows move in ways that defy physics. Some report flickers of motion in their periphery. Too fast, too oddly shaped to be dismissed as fish. During one descent in the early 2000s, a private team reported their lights briefly failing at the bottom. In that moment of darkness, sensors picked up unusual vibrations and a metallic ping from outside the vessel, though no physical damage was found. Nothing was recorded, but those aboard were visibly shaken afterward and refused to speak publicly. Equipment malfunctions and failures. Over the years, there have been numerous cases of submersibles descending with fully functioning equipment only to experience strange malfunctions at the bottom. Cameras failing. Pressure sensors giving nonsensical readings. In a few cases, communication cables seem to transmit whispers, fragments of human speech not matching anyone aboard. Are these glitches caused by extreme conditions? Very likely, but the consistency of such reports has led to quiet speculation. Could something be interfering from below? A natural electromagnetic phenomenon? Or perhaps something more deliberate? The psychological toll. Even trained astronauts, deep-sea divers, and elite military personnel have spoken of the deep ocean as more frightening than space. The utter isolation, the claustrophobia of being inside a tiny metal sphere with no margin for error, and the knowledge that rescue is all but impossible. These compound into an existential dread. The pressure outside is so great it's practically incomprehensible. And then there's the darkness, total, all-consuming, ancient. Many report a sense of being watched, or a pressure behind the eyes, or a voice just on the edge of hearing. Beyond the reach of light. At the bottom of Challenger Deep, sunlight is a foreign concept. Temperatures hover just above freezing. The water is so heavy it moves differently, flows differently. Life exists here, fragile, alien-like creatures, but it is sparse. And yet, some explorers report things that shouldn't be there. Flashing lights without an obvious source. Sudden shifts in water density. Anomalous heat signatures. One exploratory drone returned with footage of a pulsing structure on the ocean floor, later dismissed as a data glitch, though no one could quite explain its geometric regularity. Is it silence or something hidden? So why does no one stay long in the Challenger Deep? Because it is expensive and dangerous? Certainly. Because our machines and bodies aren't built for it? Of course. But there's a lingering thought, one shared quietly among those who have touched the trench, that we are not alone down there, that the silence is not empty but waiting, that something ancient, something watchful, dwells in the deepest hole we've ever dared to probe, and that perhaps humanity was not meant to linger in such a place. Next, uncharted trenches, What lies beneath the Philippine and Java trenches? In the unfathomable depths of the Pacific Ocean, where sunlight never reaches and pressure is beyond human comprehension, two colossal trenches stretch like silent scars across the seafloor, the Philippine Trench and the Java Trench. These submerged chasms, among the deepest and least explored places on Earth, are shrouded in mystery. Unlike the relatively well-known Mariana Trench, these regions remain largely uncharted, unexplored, and enveloped in the kinds of enigmas that make even seasoned oceanographers tread carefully. In this part of our journey into the unsolved mysteries of the deepest ocean trenches, we descend into the shadows of these two great abysses. The Philippine Trench, also known as the Mindanao Trench, lies to the east of the Philippines, formed where the Philippine sea plate is being subducted beneath the Eurasian plate. It plunges to depths of over 10,000 meters in some regions, depths that rival the Mariana. Meanwhile, the Java Trench, located south of the Indonesian islands, is part of the Sunda subduction zone and stretches over 3,200 kilometers. Though its maximum depth is slightly shallower than the Mariana or Philippine trenches, it is still unimaginably deep, and perhaps even more significant in terms of the potential geological and biological discoveries it may conceal. Despite their immense scale and importance, these trenches have received relatively little scientific attention. Few manned or unmanned expeditions have dared to explore their full depths, and satellite mapping has only provided the faintest outlines of their contours. What lies beneath remains a question that science has barely begun to answer. In their silence, these trenches offer us mystery. Strange signals, seismic oddities, unclassified creatures, and whispers of ancient legends passed down in coastal folklore. Let us begin, then, by exploring the Philippine Trench, a region where pressure exceeds 1,000 times that of sea level and where darkness reigns eternal. What makes this trench particularly interesting is its geological volatility. The area is marked by frequent earthquakes, deep-sea faulting, and undersea landslides. Some of the most intense seismic events in recorded history have originated from this region. And yet, beneath the tumultuous shifting of tectonic plates, lies a quieter, more profound enigma. In 2019, a remote-operated vehicle ROV, known as the Deep Discoverer, descended into one of the deeper troughs of the Philippine Trench. The images it returned were extraordinary: vast plains of silted sediment, bizarre formations resembling underwater dunes, and most notably, odd spherical structures resting on the seafloor. These orbs, ranging in size from a basketball to a small car, were smooth, metallic-looking, and inexplicably aligned in geometric clusters. Scientists have yet to fully explain their origin. Some hypothesize they could be manganese nodules or concretions formed by mineral precipitation. Others wonder aloud, are they artificial? Adding to the mystery are the strange sonar readings recorded during that same expedition. Several times, high-frequency sonar pinged back with echoes that did not match any known topographic features. The readings suggested large, solid objects buried just beneath the sediment, objects far too symmetrical to be natural rock formations. Yet drilling was not possible, and the ROV lacked the capacity to dig deep. The team left with more questions than answers. Similar tales emerge from exploratory missions into the Java Trench. In 2017, an Indonesian research team deploying deep-sea hydrophones picked up rhythmic acoustic patterns from a depth of over 7,000 meters. These pulses were precise, repeating every 18.6 seconds, and continued for nearly 3 days. The patterns did not resemble biological sounds. They lacked the chaotic variability of marine life or the signature frequencies of known whales or fish, nor did they match tectonic activity. The signals, oddly enough, ceased as suddenly as they began. What makes the Java Trench particularly compelling is its location in relation to ancient maritime routes. The waters above it were once sailed by the great Austronesian seafarers, and in Indonesian folklore, the trench is believed to be the dwelling of massive sea spirits, entities said to cause storms, tsunamis, and disappearances. Some villages still perform ocean rituals at specific times of year, believed to placate the trench's guardians. When researchers attempted to deploy deep-sea probes in 2015 and 2018, both missions failed, one due to equipment failure, and the other due to an unexplained loss of communication with the drone vehicle. The wreckage was never recovered. Another curious phenomenon reported in both trenches is the presence of transient bioluminescence at extreme depths. In theory, very few organisms should be able to survive at pressure so intense, let alone produce visible light. Yet, multiple deep-sea cameras have captured momentary flares, brief pulses of blue, green, and even violet light, sometimes moving in coordinated paths. Some have speculated these could be extremely rare deep-living cephalopods or jellyfish. Others suggest these lights may be related to the mysterious sonar echoes, possibly mechanisms or unknown technologies of unknown origin. For all the technology available to us today, our understanding of these trenches is equivalent to a blindfolded glance through a keyhole. The Philippine and Java trenches may hide entire ecosystems unlike anything else on Earth. They may conceal relics of past civilizations, drawn down by tectonic subduction over millennia. Or they may simply be Earth's final fortress of natural enigma, where every answer spawns 10 new questions. In the next part, we will venture into the heart of a centuries-old enigma, the so-called Baltic Sea object, a structure that some claim is ancient technology, while others dismiss as a curious geological formation. But for now, the Philippine and Java trenches remain two of Earth's greatest underwater mysteries, vast, deep, and almost untouched by human eyes. Next, frozen secrets of the Sandwich Trench, a world of ice, pressure, and silence. Beneath the icy cloak of the Southern Ocean, just north of Antarctica, lies one of the most remote and enigmatic underwater features on Earth, the South Sandwich Trench. Shrouded in freezing darkness and immense pressure, this nearly 8-kilometer deep chasm is part of a realm few have dared to explore. Here, in the final part of our journey through the world's deepest ocean trenches, we descend into a trench that remains, for the most part, untouched by human presence. Yet in the silence of its depths, it whispers of ancient processes, strange biological forms, and unexplained phenomena that continue to puzzle scientists. The South Sandwich Trench, isolated by both geography and environment, holds secrets that challenge our assumptions about the resilience of life, the geology of the planet, and the boundaries of human knowledge. Let us descend together into the abyss, into a realm where ice meets pressure, where silence rules, and where the ocean floor may still be hiding stories not yet heard. A glacial abyss at the end of the Earth. The South Sandwich Trench sits in a location so remote that it is rarely mentioned outside of deep-sea geological circles. It curves beneath the South Sandwich Islands in the Scotia Sea, plunging to depths of over 8,200 meters. The trench lies along a subduction zone where the South American plate meets the small South Sandwich Plate, making it geologically active, though rarely monitored due to its isolation. Unlike the more well-known Mariana Trench, the South Sandwich Trench exists in a realm dominated by glacial temperatures, icebergs, and storm-lashed seas. The surrounding ocean is rich with nutrient upwelling and the occasional burst of bioluminescent life, yet the trench itself seems almost like a forgotten scar on the planet's face. Unmapped in detail, unvisited by crewed vessels, and largely speculative in terms of what lies within. Though autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, and remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, have skimmed portions of the trench, the extreme cold, volatile weather, and shifting tectonic conditions have made detailed exploration rare and dangerous. It remains a frontier, and frontiers tend to hold mysteries, unusual seismic signals, and unexplained tectonic movements. One of the most persistent enigmas of the South Sandwich Trench has to do with seismic activity. Unlike typical subduction zones, the trench displays irregular tremor patterns and bursts of deep earthquakes that defy traditional modeling. Researchers from several polar seismic networks have recorded low-frequency earthquakes at odd intervals, some of which lack an obvious epicenter or follow no known fault structure. These are away from any known hydrothermal vents and were seemingly embedded in icy rock. Their presence confounded the expedition scientists. What energy source were they using? How had they survived the high-pressure, sub-zero environment of a trench barely visited by light or warmth? Further studies have hypothesized chemosynthesis based on decaying organic matter, microbial symbiosis, or even unknown biological pathways. Some marine biologists, still cautious, admit they may be observing a form of extremophile life that forces us to rewrite parts of our understanding of adaptation. To make matters more perplexing, a few of the deep trench samples contain trace elements that didn't match surrounding geology, metallic isotopes, and silicon compounds similar to those seen in meteorite impacts or ancient Earth crust. Magnetic anomalies and the blue pulse. In 2021, an international polar observatory monitoring the magnetic field over the South Atlantic reported a strange, rhythmic fluctuation, a pulsing, low-frequency magnetic wave that seemed to originate near the South Sandwich Trench. At first attributed to solar activity, it was eventually determined that this blue pulse, as researchers nicknamed it, didn't correlate with space weather or geomagnetic storms. Instead, its origin remained elusive, but its signature was consistent and cyclical. Was it generated by geologic processes beneath the trench? Could it have been tied to some form of piezoelectric discharge caused by shifting ice, tectonic stress, or deep-sea faults? Though scientists hesitate to speculate wildly, some have noted the similarity between the blue pulse and other deep-sea acoustic anomalies, like the upsweep or the bloop, where rhythmic signals appear from unknown sources and vanish just as mysteriously. Yet, unlike those, the blue pulse wasn't acoustic. It was electromagnetic. If natural, it might be a new kind of magnetic resonance produced by ultra-deep geology. If not, it opens the door to even stranger questions. Echoes from the void, the enigma remains. The South Sandwich Trench is the sort of place that resists easy answers. Like the trenches of legend and science fiction, it defies mapping, ignores timelines, and hints at stories still forming beneath our awareness. Every trench on Earth seems to harbor its own unique flavor of strangeness, but the South Sandwich Trench, isolated, frozen, almost entirely unexplored, feels like the last vault, a place not meant to be easily understood. We have sent cameras and sensors, but we've barely scratched its surface. Perhaps one day, brave explorers or smarter autonomous machines will dive deep enough to answer its mysteries. Until then, the trench remains a question mark on the seafloor, pulsing, shifting, and waiting.